700 years ago, if you lived on this coast, the ocean wasn't a vacation. It was a death trap for pirate raids and invading armies. The locals fled into the clouds and built a village where no one could reach them. What started as an impenetrable hideout became one of the most magical, mysterious places on Earth. Welcome to the village of Ez. "700 years ago, if you lived on the coast of the French Riviera, life was terrifying. Pirate raids and invading empires were a constant threat. So the locals fled 400 meters straight up. They carved a tiny village out of a sheer rock pinnacle, so high above the clouds that invaders couldn't reach it, and built a castle right at the summit. They called it an eagle's nest. For centuries, the people who lived up here were completely cut off from the rest of the world. There was no road, no running water, just an endless staircase carved into the rock. Getting here is part of the story. Ez sits right between Nice and Monaco, making it an easy day trip. But how you choose to arrive changes your entire experience. If you take the 605 or 603 bus from Nice, it costs just a couple of euros and drops you right at the entrance of Ez village, on the middle cliff. If you take the train, it drops you down at sea level, Ez-Sumer, and from there you're left looking up at a sheer 400-meter wall, which brings us to the hike that broke a famous philosopher. Today, this trail bears his name, and when you walk it, you quickly realize you aren't just taking a hike. You're walking through the birthplace of modern philosophy. By the mid-1900s, Ez was almost completely abandoned, a beautiful, crumbling ghost town of stone, until a bizarre legend took hold. Local folklore claimed a mysterious golden goat led visitors to hidden treasures tucked behind the village walls. A local hotelier named Robert Wolfe bought an old ruined building up here and named it the Golden Goat. Then, in 1956, a tourist fell in love with the village while staying here. His name? Walt Disney. Disney was so enchanted by this medieval fairy tale town that he convinced the owner to buy up neighboring stone houses and turn the entire village into a living fairy tale hotel. Disney didn't just visit Ez, he helped save it. Once you step through the medieval stone gates into Ez village, time completely shifts. There are no cars, no roads, and no modern buildings, just a labyrinth of narrow, stone-paved alleys. Today, at the absolute top of the rock, where the medieval castle once stood before it was blown up in a war, lies a botanical garden floating in the sky. Standing up here, looking out over the entire French Riviera, you realize Ez was built for survival. But over hundreds of years, human history, folklore, and a touch of Hollywood turned a cold stone fortress into one of the most magical places on Earth. Here's what travelers need to know. Do not attempt this journey in sandals or slip-on shoes. It's an unpaved, sun-exposed stone staircase that takes about an hour and a half of pure incline. Bring plenty of water, sunglasses, proper sneakers, and start early in the morning before the Riviera heat kicks in. Because the streets are barely 2 meters wide, it gets crowded by midday. The secret? Arrive before 10 a.m. or stay past 5 p.m. when day tourists leave, and you'll have these medieval stone passages almost entirely to yourself. Once you reach the Botanical Gardens at the top, there's a small entry fee, around 7 or 8 euros, but it gives you one of the best panoramic views on the entire French Riviera. You are standing among giant succulents floating 400 meters above the sea, looking across the entire coastline from Nice to Saint-Jean, Cap Ferrat. It's the ultimate reward after the climb, taking a sheer defensive rock wall and turning it into an open-air sanctuary. If you want to see where we explored before this, from the snowbound transit of Japan to the highest Alpine railways in Switzerland, click the playlist on the screen. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next story.